The Dice Tower is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. And by Cool Stuff Inc. Cool Stuff, in stock at CoolStuffInc.com. The Dice Tower, episode 531.
Live, really live, a kind of live, from PAX 2017.
Welcome to The Dice Tower, a podcast about board games and card games, but especially the people who play them. On this show, we are live in and around Philadelphia for the inaugural PAX Unplugged. Tom and I will speak with various special guests, check out the convention, talk about some games played, and present our live top 10 in front of a studio audience. I'm Eric Summerer, and here's your host, the banjo to my kazooie, Tom Vassell.
Wow, I was just reading a book about that game.
There's a book about Banjo-Kazooie?
No, it was just a book about video game history.
Okay.
And they mentioned Banjo-Kazooie and some other stuff.
Nice. I wasn't a big player of that one. My brothers played that a lot.
Yeah, he was too stupid for me. I don't know. I mean, Mario, it's not like Mario's some great thing. It just seems
right. He's an intellectual in comparison. I get it.
Yes. Although I do really like Toe Jam and Earl, so I don't have anything to say.
Nice. So where are we and what are we doing here, Tom?
All right, so we're at PAX Unplugged, and this is day one. This is Friday. It's a 3-day convention, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We don't really know what we're doing yet, in a sense, because this is like uncharted territory.
Right. We know we have booth space. We know where we're standing. But we don't really know what to expect. We don't know what the audience is going to be like. So far, this feels like any of our board game conventions. Maybe Origins. It has that sort of feel at the hotels around the convention center.
It's the size of Origins.
Yes.
It feels. Yeah, and the publishers, the room, it's kind of a weird situation because the show is the same time as Boardgame Geek Con. So some of the publishers are not here, or they're here, but the publisher themselves isn't here. They're at BGG-Con.
Right. Or they're a split staff. I know we talked with Chaz Marler from Passport Games. He's here, but some other folks from his team are at Board Game Geek Con. It's sort of a weird situation.
Yeah, although the board game media is not split. They are like here.
They seem to be here. Well, I think this is new and shiny. We know Board Game Geek Con is a terrific convention, but we already know that. And so this is like a brand new thing to explore. And I think a lot of folks want to know what it's going to be like. And that's what we're aiming to figure out in this episode. Right.
So, we've not a lot to talk about so far. Just a couple things from yesterday. I got here before Eric. He came at night. But I got here and we put... I went to a Revolutionary War themed escape room, which was amazing.
Mm.
You go to escape rooms about... You went to the Ghostbusters thing. I never went to that.
I did go to the Ghostbusters thing. Okay, fine. We're even.
How many escape rooms have you been to?
A few. I've gone to like really terrible ones in the mall. They're not terrible, but they're not great.
I know what you mean. Right.
Yeah.
Well, this one was really fun, just for thematic purposes. And we won and did a good job on it. And then at night we went and played some games. Mostly played stuff I know. I played Teeth Tashin like a couple times. And then I played Cover Me, the fashion model thing.
Yeah, I was mildly interested in this one. It has a nice cardboard runway and cardboard audience members watching the runway show. But you guys walked away not terribly happy with this.
Yeah, I really like the theme, right? So it's not the theme, because that's people's first thing. Oh, well, you don't like the theme. No, the theme was great, actually. I liked that it was different, unique. I liked that the theme did not... It could have been seedy or even exploitive, and I don't think it was.
Okay.
But the thing about the game is that you are, in this game, you are playing cards that are changing different traits. The color hair, length of hair, color dress, whatever, that are like in vogue. These are the popular things.
Okay.
So each card you play changes what's popular. And then you are trying to match the most popular things. And then that person's the cover of your magazine.
Okay.
The problem is that you do this 3 times per season. There are 4 seasons per year. There is 3 years in the game.
Ouch.
So just doing it over and over and over, and we're constantly moving dials. And the idea is interesting, but it's way too long, and it's doesn't really differentiate itself at all. They add a
Right.
few new colored dresses as time goes by, but that's not enough.
Huh. Is it better than like Knizia's Trendy, which does the same thing in a far more abstracted,
I don't
quick...
think I played Trendy.
Okay. Classic card game. It's from many years ago, at least a decade ago.
But that could be now, though. Anytime I get a new Reiner Knizia game, like, what game has he
Which
remade?
game is this? Yes. Anyway, that's a totally different subject.
But it's a true subject.
I got to play Drop Mix for the first time last night.
Did you?
Yeah, I arrived, I just got into town at like 9:30 p.m., so I only got to play a little bit.
They were playing Drop Mix
They were
there?
playing Drop Mix, a few tables away from you. I said hi, and then I wandered off. And
I didn't even notice.
yeah, so I played Drop Mix, which is a game from the creators of Guitar Hero that has this giant board thing with 5 card spaces that connects to an app and plays music. It's a basic card game. You have a deck of like 15 cards. There's different modes you can play. You're basically playing them in certain suits and trying to either match or beat the volume level of what your opponents have played to cover them up and sort of gain some territory. It's a little bit of an area control game. The app adds a musical element to this. So as I play a card from a particular song, Bring Me to Life from Evanescence, it's going to play the guitar riff or the drum beat from that song. And then somebody plays a different card from a different song, and that gets mixed into what I'm creating. So you actually create this musical montage as you go, which I think is far more interesting than the game itself.
Yeah, I haven't actually touched the game. I've messed with the music.
Yes.
I don't know if I like the music part, though. My kids think it's amazing. I think maybe it's a disconnect for age.
Maybe.
Like most of the songs in there, I don't even know what they are. I know I Will Survive. And
Okay, yep.
There's a few songs I know, but
Yes.
for most part, and it's all that synthesized. But it's astounding on how well it works.
Yes, the tech is really cool. All the cards have an RFID signature, so you simply slap this card down on the board, and it knows which card you played. You register your entire deck. There's a deck building aspect to the game, and you can just pile cards on the sensor, and it will tell you, 1, how many cards are in your deck, and 2, if you're now legal as far as point values for creating a deck in the game.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so rather than having to all lay it out in pyramids and everything and count 3 or 4 times, you just slap it all on the unit, and it tells you if you're legal or not. That's
I
pretty
need
neat.
that for more other games.
Yes,
right?
if you could do that for Magic, that would be great.
And then we ended the night with
Magical Athlete.
Magical Athlete, which was... So we introduced this to Rodney Smith, who'd never played it before, and Jamie Kagi from the Secret Cabal, and Marty Cannell from Rolling Dice and Taking Names. And none of them had played it before. And then it was Dan King and Eric who had played it before. And, Boo Peg Pink Peg, Christina.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, Christina. Anyway, so they were playing, and I was kind of just running the game. And Magical Athlete is a stupid game. Even though Eric and Dan were trying to hype it up, I was trying to cool people down on it. In this game, you roll a die, go around a board, first one to the end wins.
Right.
But each person has a special power, and the powers were hilarious. They always are. And in this game, it was pretty funny because every time Rodney Smith picked a character...
That moved 1 space, and that was it.
But he picked all kinds of characters that just kept getting shellacked by other people.
Right. The best one was the final round when he was a Frankenstein and had to move backwards from the finish line to the start, and once he tagged someone, he could then start moving forward.
Right, which is actually a pretty powerful
Which is kind of cool, except Dan King had the ability to swap spaces with any other player on the board. So turn 2, Frankenstein has moved like 3 spaces, and Dan swaps with him, so that now Rodney is last and will not pass anyone moving backwards on the track.
Yeah, that was
We had to
funny.
house rule that and say
We
he
house
could
ruled
move
that he
back
could
around.
just keep spinning around the track, but it was a pretty funny moment.
It was the quickest round of Magical Athlete I think I've seen. I mean, the key to this, it's a stupid roll and move, but it's the interaction of all those powers. You've drafted all of them, and then you blind bid, basically. You blind play which character you're going to play that race. And you don't know the interaction of those different characters until you've all flipped them up, and that's where the silliness and the fun comes from.
Now, this episode, we're going to be doing something different. We're going to be recording at various points through PAX. There might be other people on here.
There might be.
You'll have to just wait and see. I don't even know where we're going next, but we have 3 days to do this over. We are actually minutes away from going out and setting up for the first day, so we'll have to wait and see. But so far, I'm feeling pretty good. Good escape room. Good first night of gaming. I played more games last night than I play at many times.
Nice.
So let's keep going.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we said we'd come back on day one, and that was a big fat lie.
We did not do that. We had a very busy day one.
All right, so we're going to try to make up for it on day two, and we'll do some talking on day two. So we're here at 8:40, so it's an hour and 20 minutes before the convention starts.
Yes, and it's supposed to be sold out today, so we're expecting a pretty big crush of people.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yesterday was... I've never been to a game convention like this before. The people here are not here to buy games; they're here to play games.
That is an interesting distinction. We were selling some promos in the booth, and we heard from lots of folks who were buying games, but it wasn't nearly the retail crush that you see at, say, Gen Con. Even when they opened the doors, it was a much more orderly filtering of people and not a crush as people ran for the latest releases.
All right, so we said we would bring in people that we just found anywhere, so we'll do that. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Raymond. I'm with the Compleat Strategist, which is a friendly local gaming store located in New York City.
I love that store.
I believe Eric has mentioned that more than 200 times.
No, I love the look, just walking in, because it's a very small, narrow retail space, and you have packed it to almost literally the rafters with games. It just stuffed in there.
So this is an interesting case where I am actually a special guest of theirs, meaning I've gone to some...
Take back everything good you just said.
Exactly.
No, I was actually a really good friend of theirs, and I walked in the day before PAX, and he said, "Hey, Raymond, why don't you come down as an exhibitor with us?"
Huh.
So they gave me a special badge and walking around just talking about it and, representing that store. How good and friendly they are.
So how often do you go there?
I went a couple of times a week. I work like a couple blocks away, so when I do go there, I talk about the gaming industry with them, what's new in the market and what's hot. Sometimes they might gauge things off me. I'll tell them what's good, what's not good. So
what is your goal while you're here?
My goal here is to find a new hotness, try to also understand what's new, so they can understand what to bring back to the store.
So almost a scout sort of role.
Yeah, I talk to them all the time. There's always an open dialogue. I think it's a good example of what happens when you have a good customer, as well as a good store willing to give me a chance to walk around as an exhibitor, talking to them about games, whatnot.
Yeah, we've been discussing with so many games coming out, so many being released all the time, how do retailers figure out what to carry?
It is really a tough thing right now. It's hard to... There's just so many games out there, and you got to find a fine line in between what do I like? That matters, but it's more what's going to sell. You might like, for example, a really heavy game. You might sell a couple copies of that while you'll sell 200 King of Tokyos.
Right.
Or whatever. So you said you were looking for the gem. Have you found it? Have you succeeded in your mission?
Not yet, because a lot of stuff from Essen still hasn't showed up yet. So I can't try to come up with a definitive answer because not all the games have showed up. There is Terraforming Mars Venus next that's coming out. I think they're about to bring it in a couple.
Oh, that's why you're here. You're just close to that booth to grab that.
He's hovering. He's looking a little nervous.
Well, before we were on air here, you were telling me that you played Zendo and like that one.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
This is the new edition of Zendo that's not all pyramids. It's multiple shapes.
It's pyramids, wedges, and blocks.
Yes. So what happens in the game is a moderator works with, I guess you call them students, right? And then a person chooses a card, and what the card has is multiple shapes and colors and or multiple numbers, which means the quantity of the triangle shapes, blocks. And what you do as the moderator is to show them the rule on the card, and then the students now try to deduce via the scientific method either right or wrong if that matches the rule or not. And then if there's two ways you can play, you can ask them to tell you if that's correct or wrong, or quiz, meaning everyone around the table can guess whether it's going to be right or wrong. So when you're right, you get a guessing stone, in which by the end of your turn you can hand over your guessing stone and guess. I think it has to be correct what the logic is, and guess what the rule is. If you're correct, the round's over. You pass, I guess, the moderator, whoever next wants to be moderator. If you're wrong, it keeps going until someone gets it correct.
Yeah, but what we want to know is, are you good at this game?
No, I'm not that great at it. We tried easy. We thought that was easy. Medium, it was a little difficult at first because some of the rules are different. It might have compound logic in it.
Right.
For example, it could say at least one red and one red block. And then you're busy trying to figure out the red part, but you totally forgot about the block part, in which the moderator can show you or disprove or prove again what is correct without giving away too easy.
Right.
And then we tried playing hard, which was catastrophe.
Yeah, I think, this is Looney Labs, and I think being as intelligent as they are at Looney Labs, their idea of hard is maybe more than most people would consider hard.
But this new version comes with a book of tips and all kinds of, it's like a nice book of all sorts of things to talk about the game. So that's cool and things. Anyway, we're glad you found at least that. Thanks for coming by and stopping by and saying hi to us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, now we pulled in Mark Streed from Board Game Corner, or at least I think it's
me.
Mark Streed.
No, I think it was great at
It's
one
hard to tell,
point.
right?
Yes, that's true. You
Mark
are
has
looking a
lost
little
like
more
70
svelte
pounds.
lately.
He's amazing.
Yes.
At one point during the show, you were standing in the corner of our
was.
Geekinson booth, and I noticed that you were in the Board Game Corner, and you're like, I was waiting for somebody to notice.
Exactly.
Really? You stood in the corner waiting for someone to
See
notice?
if anybody would catch on to that.
Yeah.
And,
So lame.
and Eric was the only one.
That's not something we're looking for.
Well,
I don't stand on a tower and hope someone sees me.
that would be cool. actually.
But then we have to carry the tower around.
Yeah, that's true.
And
The
assemble
setup-
it at every
Yeah,
convention.
the setup would be a pain.
But then everyone would know where you are, because that's the problem. Everybody comes by and
Yeah.
says, "Where's Tom?"
Like, you need more height.
He's in the tower.
You really wouldn't need
That's
that,
true.
actually.
I look and I'm peeking out the window.
I take my meetings up here now.
All right, so Mark, you've been at many conventions
Oh,
this
yeah.
year.
Yeah.
So how does this one compare to the other ones after
Oh.
one day?
Yeah, after one day. So, it has a little bit of an Origins vibe to it. It's not as crazy as I thought it might be. It's a little
Well,
more...
again, we haven't been through Saturday.
Right, we
but-
haven't been through
right.
Saturday yet. This was just Friday. So it was easy maneuver, easy to get around, to find what you need to find. It's not miles and miles long either. So you can get through the hall easily in a day.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even in an hour or two. I think I had 2 hours away from the booth. I was able to walk all of the halls. And they're actually wider.
Yeah,
There's some pretty
absolutely.
spacious
Very much so.
aisles here in the
Yeah, well,
exhibit
they
hall.
do that until it's time to get more.
Right. This is
Right.
the first year that they've done the convention.
We can sell more space.
Right.
Shrink those aisles.
Break everything down. But also, there's a combination open gaming area
Right. And
that's
it's
in the
huge.
same hall as the exhibit space, but they just close it off after
Right.
the exhibit hall closes, and then it's open gaming on that side of the hall.
But it's huge, though.
So I just realized you
It's-
disappeared last night.
Oh, yeah, so I went and explored the city, actually.
Really?
I went downtown, checked out all the architecture and stuff. It was really neat, actually.
Did you see the bell?
I did see the bell.
Jason, he's trying to rope me into going to see the bell.
Wait, you went without Jason?
Yeah, I went without Jason.
That's hilarious.
So I did that, and then I went down and saw the art center. They have this giant, paintbrush sticking outside the building. It's huge. And then they have this sculpture of this plane that's collapsed in on itself, heading into the ground.
Oh, that was in an alley. When
Yeah.
we were driving here, I
Right.
saw that, and I
It
was
was
like,
pretty
I don't
neat
care what that
looking.
is. I want to go look at it,
Yeah.
and then I never did.
It
Wow.
was really cool. So I just explored. I had to walk because I wanted to work off more calories. So
This seems super poignant.
I know. Yeah. Every time somebody grabs a sugared beverage, Mark gives them the stink eye here in the booth.
it's just best not to drink your calories if you can avoid it. I'd rather eat them personally.
I see. I just don't face Mark. I just always go angled away.
I'm gonna get some water when we're done here. Okay, but about gaming. Play a good
Gaming?
game? Did you play any games
I
yesterday?
haven't played any games yet at all.
Did you see any games where you're like, I wish I could
Yes,
play them?
I did. Well, I picked up something. The one thing I wanted the most was the companion deck for Hero Realms and the new boss packs.
Yes, I was
So
drooling over that
is
one.
The number one thing I was looking for here, and I got it right away yesterday. So
This now makes the game cooperative.
Yes.
Which is sort of the way I wanted that game to feel to
Yeah.
begin with. So I'm really excited to put I've
too.
pre-ordered it. I'm waiting for it to
Oh,
get
cool.
shipped with my Star Realms Kickstarter.
yeah.
But yeah, it adds a campaign that you can play against the
It's
whole
the
thing.
whole thing, yeah.
That
My
sounds fun.
concern, I'm kind of there with you guys, but my concern is the game is super simple. Does it need this complexity added to it?
It's almost like getting a new game.
to some degree.
Again, I'm just always cautious when they add. They're like, hey, there's this simple game.
Right.
We're going to make it more complex because I would say at least half the time it does not work.
True.
Yes, but I think the fact that it's now cooperative is going to be a big draw.
It is for
I
me.
like whooping on other people.
You still can go back and play the other one, right? It's
Sure.
not like you mix it and it's over now.
No,
You're just doing that.
Who thinks that? Come on
Just
now.
saying.
It's a legacy.
It's a legacy.
These have
Well,
been merged.
they're
I
legacy
cannot remove them.
So Marcus just invented a new thing: legacy
right.
expansions.
That's right.
That when you add them to a game,
You just
they
sticker
can
over.
never come out.
Never come
There's
out.
stickers that go over the existing cards.
No, I'm really excited about this, though. I've been looking forward to this since they released Hero Realms and mentioned it, you know. So,
All right. Well, thanks, Mark, for coming on the
Yeah,
show.
anytime.
He's already walking away, drinking water. I'm shamed. All right. Well, let's keep moving. Okay, now we have a random person we found going through.
No. We have to tell this story.
now we have to say exactly
Yes.
how Tom phrased it? Yes.
Tom phrased it this way. Okay, I can't find anybody else, so we'll use Sam. All right, great, thanks.
It's good to know where you rank in.
I know, yeah. It's always
hierarchy.
good to know where you are.
Mr. Healey, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. So
Very
what?
well.
This is your first PAX. This is everybody's first PAX
Yeah, it is.
Unplugged. What's your impression of the convention so far?
Philly is amazing.
This is a neat city.
It is.
To hold a
And
convention.
this is a
in.
great location in the city.
It really
Right.
is.
Like Dallas is probably a pretty cool city, but we never see it
Right.
when we're there. Here,
Right.
you can't miss Philadelphia. Did you
No.
see the marathon people running by the room?
No,
I looked out my window, I saw all the people running, felt guilty.
no. Even if I wouldn't have felt good, I probably would have pointed and left because marathons just don't make sense to me. I run only when chased, and even then, it's only if I don't think I can. I will get beat in the fight. You know.
There you go.
So
So you-
Maybe I when I turned, the giants, some big monster was chasing everybody, and I did not know it, and I thought it was a race.
yeah, that could be. That always could be the case. And as we're talking about marathons, Z just grabbed a box of Federal Donuts and
And
sat
he's sitting
down
on the
right
floor.
next to the table,
Eating donuts.
about to dive into them.
This is the life of a convention.
That's okay.
here.
Mark's staring at him. We're good.
Yeah, Mark is silently, quote unquote, judging him as he takes each bite, so it's good.
Okay, so you're not a big fan of crowds at
No.
conventions.
No,
Like
not
you
usually.
like going to Gen Con Essen, but you said that the crowds can
I
overwhelm.
like staying at the booth for the most part. Yeah.
But here, what do you think about the crowds? I don't think they're too bad here.
No, they aren't.
Well, yeah,
but
they weren't yesterday.
that was yesterday, right?
Yep.
I think today, this is the day that was sold out. So I think the crowds are going to be a little bit more nigh insurmountable this time. But I mean, you know, it's. I think it'll be still pretty cool. I don't think this is a huge convention, but it is a huge first convention. Usually conventions are a lot smaller than this when they first start out.
Right. I mean,
we were 300 and so happy.
Right? Yeah, exactly. That's
yes.
what I'm saying.
I mean, this is a very ambitious convention for a first year, but this is also not the first PAX.
Correct.
PAXs have been going on for a while,
Right,
so at
it
least
does
the
have the name, yeah.
infrastructure is there. They've had exhibit halls before. They've had these crowds before. So, I mean, for a first year, I'm hearing good things as
And they
far
have
as...
great infrastructure. They have these guys called enforcers.
Yes.
Who sound mean. They're not really. Their job is to there's a problem, they dispatch them there and take care of it.
I just talked about it. I don't mean to cut you off.
Okay, go for it.
I just talked to a guy that was an enforcer, and I mean, he was dressing up the part. He had combat boots on. He had gray fatigues on. He had a black beret on that had an E for enforcer on it. He had a almost what looked like a flak jacket on, a flak vest.
Wow.
On, and I was like, dude, you're really. I stopped him. I said, you're really taking this whole enforcer thing to the next level. He was like, it's funny you mentioned that because one of my supervisors talked to me yesterday and said I was scaring the guests. I said, dude, you're doing it right, man. Keep it up. He's like, well, we're trying to be friendly and trying to do this. I was like, no, you need a healthy bit of fear there. It's good.
They have enforcers in different sections. Like
Right.
in the hot game section, which is really good, by the way.
Yep.
It's like as good as the Board Game Geek one. They have all the games from Essen that
Yep.
are there, and you can go play them. But they have enforcers in that area who help teach games.
Right.
And then they got enforcers in different areas. But then they had like a mobile team
Yeah.
So like, hey, there's a problem over here. These guys go handle it.
Yep.
I wish other conventions had that. That's a
know,
great
right?
thing.
It is. I mean, this is what they call their volunteer squad. They're recruited.
Actually,
they're
the enforcers
trained.
are not volunteers. It's a paid position.
Are
they're
they?
paid,
Yeah, because it's an important thing to do.
It's an application process that's been followed through all the other PAXs, and it's a very respected position. There is competition to get these positions. There was a mouse in the hall. In the exhibit hall that started scurrying around, and one person caught it, and within 30 seconds, 2 enforcers were there with a cardboard box and plans to take it somewhere. Actually, they didn't have plans. They had the cardboard box,
Quote,
and then they
unquote,
said,
somewhere.
Taking it to the
They said
farm
another
in the
thing.
sky.
But there's also that instant response when there was
Yeah.
something that
No, that's
happened.
awesome.
They noticed that there was a crowd gathered. They noticed something needed to be done, and somebody showed up with a box. And then they said, "What do we do now?" As they walked off. But it was taken care of.
That's cool.
It's probably good we don't know the end of this story.
No, it's although I would like to find out the end of the story.
I'm sure they took it outside.
You're not sure that mice carry disease in
I don't know, but
Philadelphia.
we're in the middle of
I don't know.
Philly. Taking it outside doesn't really help it that much.
It's true.
Okay, so anyway, so that's pretty good. You've been playing Blood Rage at the booth.
I've played it twice. I've
And-
played it once in the morning yesterday and then once in the
How
afternoon.
many times have you won?
None.
Really?
I got beat by 10 points by Jim Bridgen. He's a friend of mine from Atlanta, and another gentleman. I forget his name because I just met him yesterday and I forgot it already. But he beat me by 10 points. The second game went a little bit better. I was actually in last place going into the third age. That was my ring. I'm sorry.
Sam's banging the table just to drive me nuts.
I was going into the third age in last place, and I finished the game second by 1 point. So
Oof.
that was a very good game. I very much enjoyed both of the games, but that was a real nail biter at the end.
Have you played any non-Blood Rage games?
I played Cover Me, which was an amazing experience.
Tom mentioned it
Definitely
earlier.
outside my comfort zone. Yeah.
Yeah, but you like Rococo, which is in the same...
Well,
Category.
I like Pret-a-Porter a little bit better.
Okay, but again, they're all in the same thing.
They are in the same. They have the same theme to it of the fashion world.
Although this is definitely the most realistic. Like, it's in your face. These are people who are
Yeah,
models.
that's very true. I still think I like Pret-a-Porter a little bit better. I like the worker placement aspect of Pret-a-Porter a little bit better as well. This one just kind of felt samey.
Yeah.
Each round was same thing. The next round, you're literally doing the exact same thing that you did the round before, and there's very few, if any, changes between round and round. So that made it kind of a dud for me. But
Can you expound on the in-your-face aspect of the aesthetics?
well, you are literally looking at visages, and it's all modestly done,
Right.
But you're literally picking people based upon their different.
Are they photos or illustrations of the women?
Combination of both. It looks
I think they're
like
photos, but they're photoshopped.
They're photoshopped
Okay.
pictures, but some of them are very heavily photoshopped in that you're giving some of them long hair, you're giving some of them medium length hair, and you're giving some of them short hair.
So each of the cards has some sort of
You think they photoshopped their hair?
Yes.
Or maybe they could be wearing wigs.
It's very evident on some, especially some of the longer
I
ones.
think they photoshopped the color too, maybe?
Maybe.
Because the game
would
is
imagine.
1/3 red-headed people, which is...
Okay. So you're drafting them based on hair color, hair length.
Well, you're
color of dress and color of background. Those are the four
okay.
things.
You're not really drafting them. They are affecting what is trendy in the society or the industry at that specific moment in time. So the more models that are in the pool, I guess you could say, that have long hair, that means that long hair is going to be more trendy than short hair. The color of the dress, the pattern of the dress, all of this stuff is affecting the trend of the industry. And so, I don't know, it just has a overwhelming sense of superficiality to it, and I just didn't like it.
Now we've talked about this game for many minutes for games that you didn't particularly enjoy.
Hey, I think we should talk about all... Well, here's the thing. I wanted it to be good because I'm not opposed to that theme per se. I like these things like that. This game just wasn't a very good game. That's my biggest concern.
Yeah. I mean, it was fine, okay, I guess, but Team Tashin was good though. Team Tashin is good. We really enjoyed that. Played that twice in a row. That's a good game.
Oh man, Sam is a manipulative. You're not really manipulative. You're more of a forceful president.
I was very upfront with everyone. I mean, here I'm gonna evenly divide the money, and you're going to vote yes, right?
When you put it like that, sure. Sounds good, sir.
There's no threats in this game, just bribery. All right, well, let's see what today brings. You play another game of Blood Rage today, maybe?
Yeah, after the top 10.
Yeah, we're doing our live top 10 in front of, I don't know how many people can fit in that auditorium.
At least 10 people told me they were coming.
That's good.
Okay, good.
One
good.
for each level.
Good, yes.
Number 10, and it's like the David Letterman show where people stand up and read it.
I wonder if people show up as fans of specific numbers. I love 2. Here comes 2.
Oh, my goodness. Maybe.
Call back to your original. All right. Well, thanks, Sam.
You're welcome. Thank
Let's
you.
Move on.
So we don't have enough hosts on the show right now. We need to add one. Mandi, welcome back.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
You have been very busy here.
Not at the
with
Dice
us.
Tower booth.
Okay, now. Let's not be crazy.
You've been demoing games for Renegade Games.
Wait a minute. Hang on a second.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Just barely. I had a wild night of karaoke last night. So.
Okay. It's okay. Wait. All right.
You learned nothing?
Let's talk about karaoke, because this is very popular. There's like 2 or 3 karaoke parlors just right within a block of the convention center. How was that experience?
So, karaoke was not even on my radar. Let's talk about that first. So, I don't know what it is that screamed karaoke, but everybody wanted me to come. So, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
My inner rock and roll child came out.
I do really enjoy the Asian style karaoke parlors that are a private room.
Yes.
You get your own machine. You're not up in front of an
Is that
audience.
what this was?
Yes, it was a private, but the private room was a little weird to me. I had never had the private room. It's always been the public and everyone's watching you.
Yeah. But it means you can be more silly. You get to perform more. You get to pick your own songs. You're always doing your group, which is a lot more fun.
How many people were there, though, in the group?
It started off with myself, Z, and Dan King.
Okay.
And then we slowly invited a few others. So I think Stefan from Yellow, the Yellow team, ended up there at the end of the night. So I think we were 9 or 10 in that small room.
Now, how is Stefan's?
I want in on this.
How is Stefan's singing voice? That's what I want to know.
I went to the bathroom, came back, and Stefan, of course, was singing a song en français. So he was killing it.
Really?
He was killing it.
Now I have to come. You guys, we passed you as I was on my way to go play some more stuff, and I
we're scheduling
declined.
this for next year.
No, it is fun.
It would be nice to do a group karaoke. That would be cool. Anyway,
is it being recorded though? Right? What is it?
I can always bring my little portable recorder.
That would be hilarious.
All right. So you have been demoing games, and we mentioned that you have a tradition, let's say, of losing your voice in the process of demoing games. How long have you been demoing games? You've been doing this a lot.
So you mean just here?
Not just here, but you've been volunteering for lots of companies for the past couple of years,
so
right?
You'll never believe who the first person to reach out to me was for demoing.
I know you've worked for Bonacor.
He was the first one.
Yeah.
Why does his name show up on every show?
I'm sorry.
Was this planned?
No, sir. No, not at all. It was totally organic.
I didn't feel organic.
You can send the check later, Steven. It's fine.
Like he would send a check. Now I know you're lying.
So it's only been a couple, actually. Stronghold is the one I volunteered for the most, and then Renegade. So it's actually only been a couple. Oh, CG. I did work with them.
So, generally, what's the experience of demoing at an event like this? I guess let's just talk about PAX. What's it been like to demo here?
So it's been really good, different. I find the crowd, it's newer types of gamers. We still have the regulars, but it's a different type of crowd. I don't know how to explain it. You're not feeling that tension I sometimes feel at Gen Con, that stress.
Okay.
Yeah, so everyone's like clamoring to see what's new. Okay, I gotta get in and try it. Everyone is, not that people aren't respectful at Gen Con, it's not what I'm insinuating, but people will mill around and they're okay to watch and like, oh no, I don't really play, but I can get an idea of how the game plays, and they're okay with that.
So it's a lot more polite, basically.
You know what it is? It's that people are not in a hurry.
That's it. I think that's it.
You know, because I went and taught some people Seasons last night. They never heard of the Dice Tower. Didn't know anything. Yeah. And they were just kind of like, I guess we don't have to go through the rule book now. So we went. It was slow. People came and talked. Right. They didn't care.
Right.
I really like this. Really like
it is a nice vibe.
I'm so not stressed about a lot of things here because
Yes.
there's almost no hurry for anything.
Right.
Exactly.
People are here to have fun, and in part of doing that, they're going to be calm about it.
Absolutely.
You know, we're here for a fun activity. Why stress about it? That's good.
Friday was quiet. I found Friday very quiet.
Okay.
Saturday was jam-packed, but still not crazy. And then I'm curious to see how today pans out.
Nice. How much time have you been able to spend away from the booth? Have you been able to explore anything else?
On my lunch break, I took a quick walk around. So I'm hoping today it'll be quieter and I'll get to go around and talk to some people. But no, it's been at the booth. I've been demoing Pie Town.
Yeah.
Would you come back?
Oh, I would absolutely come back. But of course, I would be back with the Dice Tower. Tom is glaring at me, so I have to.
No, I'm not glaring. I'm not
joking.
glaring.
There was no glare whatsoever. I saw it.
That was a leading question, though, but yes.
I'm just kidding.
No, I really, really have enjoyed this. It was a nice, one of the things we always liked about BGG Con was it was a cool down after Essen. Right?
Yes.
And so coming here, I was like, another big convention after Essen. But this has also been a cool down thing for me. Now, of course, anything after Essen would be a cool down
comparison. But I mean, this is certainly much larger than BGG Con. This is much more of a consumer convention. They're almost two separate
We're not
entities
criticizing
entirely.
BGG Con at all.
No.
Yeah.
Not at all. Two different things.
We should mention there's sort of this online BGG versus PAX thing vibe that I'm getting.
Yeah, like people are like, I'm at one, I'm having fun. I don't care if I'm missing the other. It's okay. It's not a big deal.
There's enough
You can't
conventions
go to all
for
the
everybody.
conventions.
Yeah, I think there's plenty of gamers out there, and it's good that there's both.
Right.
And they aren't going to be on the same weekend next year. I don't know if you need to go to both, but you could.
That would be crazy. I think that only matters for publishers.
Yeah.
For normal folks, going to a convention 2 weeks apart, before Thanksgiving and after Thanksgiving,
know.
that'd be...
Well, that's what we're doing.
Someone's going to do it, and they're going to be like,
But that's
I told you.
That's literally what we're doing. We're here, and then it's Thanksgiving, and then it's the cruise.
Unless you're Canadian. Our Thanksgiving was in October.
You guys have a better Thanksgiving date.
It's a good
Nice.
timing. So then you could do both.
Well, yeah, no, us doing this and then the cruise. The cruise is, again, we're running stuff. But if we weren't running stuff, that would be relaxing. And if we weren't running stuff, I still don't know, let's say if I was an ordinary thing, that I would go to PAX and the cruise.
Right.
Although we've met
a number of
who
people
are coming on the cruise.
So have I. They're like, oh, Mandy, we'll see you on the
We'll
cruise.
see you on the cruise.
I'm like, oh, wow, you're going to both. That's fantastic. So, nice to hear.
So we are going to have to sign up for cruise. Oh, in fact, I'm glad that this has been brought up because this podcast was posted like, I don't know, 7 or 8 in the morning whenever I get it done. At noon today, Tuesday, and this is the 21st. Registration for Dice Tower Con goes live.
Oh, yes.
I fully expect it to sell out. I don't know if it's going to sell out in minutes.
Right away.
Or days or weeks. But I guarantee you it's going to sell out. We're adding a few more than last year, but not that many more. And I think everyone last year said they were coming again. So
So you got to get past all them.
don't delay. Get it done. Register. We want to... This is going to be great. I swear it's amazing.
He swears. You can believe him.
It was great. That was my first one, this past one. And I was relaxed, met some great people. I really, really enjoyed it. So I hope to see more people.
All right. Well, thank you, Mandy, for coming on.
Thanks
Good
for
luck with
that.
the your day of demoing.
Yes.
Hopefully you're not so busy you can get away and explore a little bit.
I hope to do so. Thanks so much for having me on.
All right. Well, there's a lot of different people all over the place. And one of the folks we ran into here was Geoff Engelstein.
Yes, although I saw a picture he posted first of the flat Stephen Bonacore that Stronghold Games is toting around in their booth to replace the real thing. And I didn't notice at
I've
first.
done a lot of stuff to that thing. I have.
Yep.
I've tackled it. I've punched it. I've
Nice.
flicked it.
Good.
I'm not going to say everything I did.
All right. Excellent. I just gave him a nice brotherly hug.
Nope. I didn't do that.
But anyway, he took a picture of it with his wife Susan, and finally he snuck up here at the booth and said hi. We didn't get him on audio, but fortunately, we have Geoff doing a segment for us.
That's right. Here it is. Here's Geoff going to make everyone feel. No, wait. I like this one.
3, 2, 1, go.
It's time for GameTek with Geoff Engelstein, where we find out how games really work.
Every Saturday I play racquetball with a friend of mine, and he is better than I am. Well, I occasionally will steal a victory. Most of the time he wins, although I do try to keep it close. Now, in the first game we played last week, it was a tough game with a lot of back and forth in the scoring, but in the end, Mark pulled ahead and won 15-10, which is pretty standard for us. Now, in the next game, I went out to an early 10-0 lead, and I ended up losing 15-10. I was seriously unhappy with myself after that second game, but should I have been? Anyone looking at the results of those games would see that in both, I lost 15-10. Without seeing what happened during the game, would not understand why I was pleased with one performance and unhappy with another. Now, in one sense, me being more upset in the second game, where I started with the big early lead but lost, makes perfect sense. If you assume that I have a certain percentage chance to win each point, even if it's less than 50%, I will still have an excellent chance of winning that game. And yet I don't want to say choked, but I did lose. But in another sense, it's not rational at all. Again, from the outside, I lost 2 games by the same score. It goes into the books that way, so why should it matter what happened on a point-by-point basis? This phenomenon is called path dependence. If you take 2 different paths to get to the same place, you may arrive in a different fashion. Now, before I talk about some studies on this in the gaming world, let's take a quick detour into the world of science. Now, one example of path dependence is what is called hysteresis. If a system exhibits hysteresis, the path has a big impact on the final state of the system. And path, in this case, doesn't have to be the physical path. It can just be the surrounding environment. Magnetism is one of those properties. If I place a piece of iron in a magnetic field and then vary the field strength from strength A to strength B, the final state of the iron will vary a lot depending on how I change the field. A system which undergoes hysteresis has some sort of permanent change. You do something and the system changes and then you stop doing it, and the system doesn't go back to the way it started, or it takes some time to get there. Another example of this is what in physics is called work, which is how much force you use to move an object a certain distance. The work you do heavily depends on the path you take to move the object from A to B. Now, in physics, there are a bunch of quantities that are said to be conserved. This means that as the system moves or melts or whatever, that a particular quantity doesn't change. Physicists love finding things that are conserved. It makes it a lot simpler to analyze behavior and gives insight into what's going on inside your system. And when a quantity is conserved, that means it does not exhibit path dependence. Energy is a classic example of something that is conserved. Now, as you may remember, there are several different types of energy: kinetic or motion energy, potential energy, which comes from gravity, heat, electrical energy, and more. Energy can move back and forth between these different types, like a roller coaster going up and down a hill and changing kinetic for potential, but the total energy remains the same if you ignore the friction. Now, for quantities that are conserved, path dependence does not matter. No matter how you get to where you are, the system will behave the same way. If I'm out in deep space and I have an object that has a certain position of velocity, it's going to move a certain way. If it flies around, but then gets back to the exact same spot with the exact same velocity, it'll do the same thing again. It does not matter how I got there. So, back to gaming. In 2008, a research team looked at games of Deal or No Deal that were played in the Netherlands, Germany, and the United States. They compared games where players were basically in similar situations, same number of briefcases remaining, and about the same total value left. Now, they discovered that the decisions the players made from that point forward were highly dependent on what had happened before. Now, if before reaching that point, they had high offers from the banker, in other words, if they were better off before but had just lost some high-value cases, they tended to take more risks. But if they had received lower offers before and just had eliminated some of the lower-value briefcases, they were more conservative with their choices. So, in essence, if they felt that they had just lost money which was never really theirs, of course, they took risks to try to get it back. But if they had just gained money, again, virtual gains, virtual value, they were conservative and tried to lock them in. The path that they took to get to that point in time had a huge impact on what they did. Now, from a purely mathematical standpoint, this makes absolutely no sense. You should evaluate each decision based purely on what the options are at that point and not carry any past baggage with you when it can affect the future. But, for better or worse, people are not machines. They get emotionally involved. In poker, this is called going on tilt, and leads to much poorer play and resulting losses typically. Now, poker players practice exercising emotional control, particularly in long tournaments when fatigue can be a factor, and learn to recognize when they may be going on tilt and take a walk, sit out a few hands, or otherwise try to get back to normal. And just like my racquetball games, we all surely are impacted by this at some point. We just need to recognize it, and if we're trying to play at our best, learn that we should only worry about where we are and where we want to go, not where we've been. This is Geoff Engelstein with GameTek.
Thank you, Geoff. I'm going to start playing Geoff in a lot of games. But, okay, so...
Hey everybody, Dice Tower editor Derek here. Just wanted to jump in, not, I guess, kind of from the future. I don't know if this is future Derek or... This is the Derek, the editor of the here and now. I wanted to let you know that this is the point in the podcast where Tom and Eric introduced and set up the recording of the top 10 list that was recorded live at PAX Unplugged, the top 10 games that need a sequel. Because we've already posted that video on our channel, rather than include it in this video and double up, I'm just jumping in here to let you know that the link to that video, the top 10 list, is in the description below. So you can go ahead and click that to check that out. So I'm going to go ahead and throw it back to Tom and Eric to go ahead and sign it off. Anyway, goodbye.
All right, well, this show turned out slightly different. I was going to go grab a whole bunch of random people. We just got one, and, well, a few, but...
We got a few. But
they weren't all random.
The noise level, once things open up, certainly becomes a detriment. Our hosts here are Hutchinson, the table manufacturers, and they have a sound system that they start cranking up just about 20 minutes before the hall opens. And as much as I would love to have the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air theme song underneath our discussions, it doesn't really...
I still think it's great to play the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air song in Philadelphia.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So the show is not over yet as of us recording this. It is Sunday morning. We've seen 2/3 of the show.
Yep.
It's interesting here because I've never seen this at a show before, but this show goes full day. Sunday's
on
not
Sunday.
a shortened day.
Yes, we go until 6
o'clock. Now, I don't know if that means people will start shutting down early. You know how that works sometimes, right?
Yeah, I don't know how strict. Some shows are far more strict about when you can start shutting things down and packing things up. You want to have an experience for the people who do show up at 4 o'clock on Sunday to be close to what it would be earlier in the day. But yeah, we'll see. It's been an exciting weekend. It's been a long weekend. But for a first attempt at PAX Unplugged, this has been pretty nice.
Not everything has been smooth, right? And I've seen PAX, they've said, oh, we made some mistakes here, we'll fix this, right? Mm-hmm. It's definitely very crowded, especially in the gaming section. I'm able to find tables to game at night,
yes,
but there's a little bit of pushing that you have to do sometimes.
Maybe.
And if you want to play the hot games, they have a great hot game section, but there's 20,000 people here.
And one copy of each of the hot games.
Right, so I mean, I would, for their sake, I would get like 3 copies of each of those games.
Yeah.
In the future years, and there's other things, but man, the shows, the staff here is one of the best I've ever seen in any convention.
Yep.
They're constantly going around making sure things are done. They have a group of people called the Enforcers that do a fantastic job.
Yeah. We mentioned them yesterday. Also, I noticed there are now queue lines around booths that had lines yesterday. So they've put tape on the floor to say, here's where the line goes, here's where it ends, here's where you enter, which is a really interesting concept that, maybe Gen Con could learn from, knowing where those choke points are going to be and immediately controlling those crowds.
Yeah, I think so. It's easy to be enamored with something the first time.
Sure.
Right, we come in, the greatest convention ever. We're not saying that.
But it's very well put together.
But I'll tell you this, we're coming back next year.
I think so.
It's solid. The surrounding area is the best of any convention. I mean, just because it's so easy.
Everything is right here. Yes.
I walked downtown to grab a cheesesteak, and it was like just a few minutes away. It was easy to get to.
It's a delicious ramen shop that I went to last night, and Chinatown just up the street with lots of great food. It's great.
Yeah, so there's that. It's easy to. There's so much open gaming here, more open gaming than any other major convention. There's definitely, like at Origins, you got to pay to go to the main open gaming area.
Okay.
There's a few other open gaming areas, but they're not huge at all.
Yep. And certainly
Gen
not
Con.
organized. Yeah, Gen Con has large areas, but they're technically for scheduled events.
Right.
You
This one
have to
has
be a little
one
sneaky.
Huge area for open gaming.
This is all open,
And
yeah.
there's no, as far as I can tell, there's no extra cost for anything here.
No, you paid for your ticket, you're in.
And that, come on.
Yeah, and events too. They don't do any event tickets. It's all lines. You get in line, and as long as you're in line,
And I
you
know
get
some
in.
people don't like that method, right? Because if you want to go to something popular, you got to stand in line
Yep.
for a while. But I'm telling you, for the value of getting a ticket to come here,
Yeah.
it's worth your while.
I have heard from role-playing game players that they were a little put off by the lack of organization, of pre-planning. Like, you couldn't sign up for a specific game at a specific time. You had to show up and get into a game. It was far more open, which is a little bit easier for board games, but when you're planning for an RPG session, you want to know how many players you're going to have. You want to know that you're going
that's
to
a
be able
good
to sit
point.
down at a seat. So they may... I think they're going to get some pushback and hope for a little bit more formalized, hopefully not a cost system, but a sign-up system for more events.
Yeah, I met one of the guys who runs PAX, one of the writer of the comic strip, and he's very excited about it, looking forward to it. They did some neat things here, like I didn't get involved in it this year, but they had like Rodney Smith from Watch It Played and Quentin from Shut Up and Sit Down, where they were teaching people to play
Yes.
games, but they were teaching like a whole room at the same
Rodney
time.
was teaching like 20 tables at once.
Right, they had
Yeah.
like a big PowerPoint thing.
Yeah.
It was really a neat. That's a cool idea.
He was nervous about it. I haven't talked to Rodney since then to see how well it went.
But overall, fantastic experience. This is easily one of the best con experiences I had over the course of this year.
It's been very nice.
After our very stressful, in essence great, but super stressful.
Yeah.
This was way less stress. In
Far
fact,
far more low key. Yeah. And there's far more space in the hall. You can move around. Even on the most crowded areas, it wasn't that you couldn't move. You could.
Yeah.
There was still flow. There was still the ability to get from one end of the hall to the other in 5 minutes. You can travel at this convention, which I'm sure is going to change as it becomes more popular and more crowded.
signage was great. Yeah, so
Yeah.
Way more positives than negatives by far. We'll see how it closes out today. So if you have a chance and you're in the Northeast, this is a good. And the Northeast needed a big con, so now
A
you got
lot
one.
of Philadelphians have stopped by saying, we're so happy that we get such a major event here in our city. I think this area was longing for something like this.
All right, well, for those of you listening, if you're in America, have a happy Thanksgiving this week.
Yes, indeed.
So fried turkey for me, and then next week, a week from you hearing this, we're going to be prepping for the cruise.
Oh my goodness.
I think we're going to have a show posted during the cruise. Yeah, we will.
We
Okay.
should.
All right, yeah, we'll
We
record
should
it.
plan that.
All righty, well, anyway, until next time, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Eric Summerer.
And you've been listening to The Dice Tower.
Thanks for listening. Promotional consideration has been provided by game publishers in the form of review copies of games. This episode, number 531, was recorded on November 17th through the 19th, 2017. Coming up next week, Mandi and Suze take the lead, and in 2 weeks, Tom and I will be back with you, and then all four of us, and Z and Sam too, present our floating show from the Dice Tower Cruise. This podcast is sponsored by listeners like you. Thank you for your continued support. And speaking of support, the Jack Vassell Memorial Fund is dedicated to providing support to members of the board gaming community in their hour of need. If a catastrophic event has become more than you can handle, find out how we can help at jackvassell.org. The Dice Tower is produced by Tom, Mandi, Suzanne, and Eric, with assistance from Itai Perez, Derek Porter, and Rob Searing. Rock, marching, elastic, and hair are provided by Band Words. Timothy Pinkham composed our theme, and hosting is provided by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games at great prices at coolstuffinc.com. Let us know what you think of the show by posting to the Dice Tower Guild at BoardGameGeek.com, following the Dice Tower on Twitter, or by emailing us at dicetower@gmail.com. And don't forget to visit the other shows in the Dice Tower Network, including Four Corners of the Board, Boards and Swords, On Board Games, the Party Game Cast featuring the Party Game Cast, Board Games Insider, and Board Game Blitz. Find out more at dicetowernetwork.com. Until next time, from all the gang at the Dice Tower, have fun gaming.
All right, I'm going to go eat another steak sandwich.
Another steak sandwich.
I've had 3. 3 of my things. No, I'm done with steak sandwiches. It's time for sausage.
Makes sense.